And thank you, Tech Barcelona, Barcelona Tech, for keeping this momentum on the tech here in the city. And we're going to talk about health tech today. So I'm going just to say a few words that I think those make sense here today. So without an entrepreneur, let's say that there's no company. Without leadership, vision, and the driving force that entrepreneurs, you all entrepreneurs do have, the digital health, biotech, health tech-based products would never see the market. So that's important to quote that, and I'm quoting, those are not my words, I'm quoting Craig Shimasaki. He's CEO and founder of one biotech company and author of a wonderful book about bioentrepreneurship. But I want to say that entrepreneurs are dynamic individuals with conviction and perseverance, and I think those are real great examples of that. And they are also creative and distractors. So, but they are real people. You are real people that succeed and fail. And this is what we are going to learn today, how and when success and failure can occur, and how can you overcome this success, failure, or everything that happens in between. And we're going to hear that with them today. So our speakers have been asked to answer a few questions, and we want this session to be like a very intimate one. There's a lot of people today, but we want it to be like if they were sharing their secrets with you, and only with you, because you're here today to listen to them. So my name is Montse Daban. I'm the Director of Science Policy and Internationalization in Biocat. We are the catalyzers and connectors of the life sciences ecosystem in Catalonia, the bioregion of Catalonia. And those people that we have here today, I'm going to say the names Markus, Pau, Anna, Marc, Valerie, and Freddy. They are going to introduce themselves. I'm not going to do that for them. So please, you can start, Markus, just introduce yourself and highlight one project, something that you want to share with us that has been like you are very proud of. So please.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. And everything we say is going to be a secret. You heard it, so this is in between us. My name is Markus Wilhems. I am originally a biologist. I have a PhD in microbiology. And in 2013, I joined the D-Health Barcelona program of Biocat, where we detected an unmet need in collaboration with the Neurorehabilitation Hospital, Institute Gutmann. So we've seen that people that are basically paralyzed due to spinal cord injury, multiple sclerosis, they can't go to the toilet. Nobody knows about it because nobody likes to talk about it. And we developed, in short, an exoskeleton for the gut. You put it on 10 minutes a day, and then you can go to the toilet without drugs, without needing to do enemas, et cetera, et cetera. Doesn't sound sexy, but it's a big deal for these people, right? So we started the company in 2014, developed the first prototypes, got it CE certified, clinical studies. We are now already recommended in the clinical guidelines in many important European countries. Our device is sold and paid by private and public healthcare reimbursement. So basically, we detected an unmet need in the standard of care, and we did a full circle of innovation. Now we are part of the new standard of care, and that's what I'm proud of, and that's probably why I'm here.
Thank you. Wow.
And now they cut me.
I'm not going to name you, so you're going one after the other. It's better.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Pau. I'm the CEO of MeThinks. So basically what we've developed is an AI software company to improve a stroke diagnosis. So for those who know, is that stroke time is brain. Every minute until you get the treatment increases the risk of disability and death. And basically what happens is a patient goes to a hospital with a suspected stroke. They have an unconscious CT to discard that then is an hemorrhage, but then they need contrast imaging, advanced imaging, to see the vascularity of the brain and assess if there is a clot and if they can be treated, basically removing the clot from the brain. But there is a problem. More than 50% of the hospitals worldwide, they don't have access to contrast medical imaging. So what we're doing is this assessment only with non-contrast with AI. This will allow any hospital in the world to assess a stroke and to transfer the patient quicker to get the treatment. This way we can save thousands of lives and disabilities. We're a portfolio company of Nina Capital. We've raised so far 7 million. And now we're in the process to get all the regulatory and generate all these prospective clinical studies.
Anna.
So, hi everyone, I'm Anna Maiques, CEO and founder of Neuroelectrics, and most of all, I'm a very proud Barcelona entrepreneur. So I want to thank Miquel and the team for Barcelona Spirit. I remember the first edition when the Mobile World Congress was canceled, and it's such a I'm so proud to see this is now a baby on its own. So for those who know about Neuroelectrics, I am very proud to have developed with my team my now mythic cap that people don't recognize me anymore if I don't wear it, I promise. If I don't wear the cap, nobody knows who I am. So I don't know if I should be happy or not, but this is now a brain stimulation technology, a new therapy. We inject little currents into the brain, and with this, we are helping kids with epilepsy to reduce seizures and depression, and we aim to become the first company in the world to go through the FDA. We are in a phase 3 study, and it's really beautiful to think that something that we designed and thought at the Observatory Fabra more than 10 years ago, now it's in the footsteps of becoming a revolutionary therapy for millions of patients. And we also managed to scale up the company to the US, which is another story, but I'm very proud because last week I was in Florida, 3 weeks ago in San Francisco, and every time I speak, I say this is made in Barcelona. So, you know, very happy to be here and very happy to share with my colleagues. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Anna. That's nice words. Marc.
Well, thank you, Montse, and hello, everyone. I'm Marc. I'm founder and the CEO of Minoryx, a company that I co-founded 11 years ago now, with the ambition to develop drugs for orphan or rare or, in Catalan, malalties minoritàries. So that's the name where it comes from. And our ambition is becoming, our dream actually is becoming as a real thing, as we are now already discussing with the EMA for a marketing authorization of our product in an indication called ALD. I'm sure that no one knows about this disease here, or probably, but it's a neurodegenerative condition, very severe, affecting little boys from 2 to 10 years, and also young adults, and these patients may have a very severe progression or even die in 4 years' time without any cure, and our treatment could be the first worldwide to treat these patients. So we are working with all the experts around the world, so trying to do our ambition a reality from Mataró. So it's made in Mataró, made in Catalonia as well.
Good.
Barcelona province, anyway. So I'm very proud of it as well, and to be part of this community today. So thank you.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to thank Biocat and Tech Barcelona for inviting me. I arrived in Barcelona 6 years ago, so I'm not native, but I feel almost native. I'm very proud to be here. I founded the company in 2019, and the company tries to tackle metastasis. So, as most of you people know, people die when they have cancer from spreading of the cancer cells. Primary tumors, or most of the time, in most of the indications, you can control them, you can dissect them out, but people die from metastasis. And a lot of drugs are focusing on primary tumor and not on metastasis. So what we do, we try to block actually the metabolism of metastatic cells. So a primary tumor is addicted to sugar, eats a lot of sugar. But when these cells becomes metastatic, they shift their metabolism and they start eating fatty acids. So really the bad fat, palm oil and things like that. And we try to block that so that this metastasis shrink and the patient could recover. So we started in 2019, so I wish I would already be so as far as you guys are. We are not. We hope to start clinical trials in a few years. We have our candidate nomination, and we hope to make a difference in cancer patients' life. So that's more or less it.
Thank you. Freddy.
Well, it's great to be here too. I'm very proud of being part of this bunch of people. So amazing for me because I used to be a doctor. I have no idea what I'm now, but I mean, and we started Dr. Alia in 27, so that means that all these were fields and nobody was around in the startups, and I mean, there was not a real digital health arena in those moments. And the point is that we were growing here, always based in Barcelona, and we merged in 2016 with a Polish company called Neuroelectrics, and now together we have the Doctomatic group that is one of the European unicorns in digital health, if not the only one. I left the company 1 year ago, and with another young entrepreneur as Carmen Rios, that's very linked to the hey Carmen, to the city. We have launched Doctomatic, that is a remote patient monitoring platform, artificial intelligence-based, that is agnostic for medical devices. So I haven't learned for the first time an experience, and let's go again to be entrepreneurs. So that's great.
Thank you all. And I just want to highlight one detail. I'm very happy also because we have a table, a panel, with men and women equally represented. And that's important because we have to fight or to try that at least every panel in which we are all represented. So thank you also for being representatives of all possibilities that we can see in an entrepreneur world. And we have been writing a report in Biocat about women and gender gap sector in the sector. So that's very important for us. I just wanted to highlight that. So now this is the secret part of the talks. So Anna, can you recall one moment, one situation, something that happened at a certain moment that just brought you where you are now with the success? That can you relate to your success, an inflection point?
Well, I think there are so many things that when you look back, take you to where you are, right? I love this commencement speech by Steve Jobs when it says that you can never connect the dots when you're looking forward, but you can connect them backwards. So I think as entrepreneurs in the room, everything you do today is going to have an impact on your future life and success. And I've always tried to follow my instinct, which I think is, or my gut, as they say in English, and I think that has been a lesson learned. Everything I do in my entrepreneurial life has to be aligned to what I believe and the reason why I wake up in the morning. And I remember in 2016, I was like, Anna, you're working very hard, the company is doing well, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I mean, you have to do more. And I remember a contra from La Vanguardia where somebody, I think it was Cueva, said, there are momentos you just have to jump. And I've been thinking about we have to go to the US, but we had 4 kids, they were small, and we were very happy in Barcelona. So I read the La Contra de La Vanguardia and said, Anna, you have to get the balls to go. You have to do it, because one day you will not be able to take the decision. You will be too old, the kids will be teenagers, it will be impossible to move them. So we moved to Boston, and I think that changed the trajectory of the company, but that changed my mindset in a big way. And now we are back in Barcelona. We are full-time here. We are very happy to be back. But I think that moment of and it was a hard decision to make, because living in Barcelona is very hard. But now I'm back. So, it's not that bad. Nobody noticed.
Great, thank you. And let me say that you mentioned jumping at the right moment, but also going back to, you mentioned also Miquel and what what he's been doing here in Barcelona for the tech sector. So thank you for that. Also because you also, I think there's something that Anna came back because of what we have here in Barcelona, of course. And
yeah, of course. And I have to say that I'm very happy to see how the ecosystem has evolved in these times. I'm super happy to see entrepreneurs that didn't exist, company with biggest rounds of money. I think that it's really amazing to see how much the ecosystem has evolved. So it's really good.
Great, thank you. Marc, what about you?
Well, in drug development, things go very slow, at least when you compare with other industries, right? And it's when all the things that appear in the press release, big rounds, partnering, they never come as a sudden. So all of them are very progressive. So it's hard to highlight any of these at a moment that really shift a situation. But when I think about that, the aspects that probably have a higher influence on what happens afterwards is in all the moments where you can validate what you are doing. Because another characteristic of what we do is that it's very, very uncertain. The data is never perfect. There's always questions around the safety, around the efficacy. never is crystal clear. So you always need that level of trust, and the investors need to trust. And when you can validate somehow externally what you do, that has a lot of weight on what's going to happen next. And in our case, validation, but that depends on the industry. But in our case, it's a lot about regulatory. So when you talk with regulators, and you can say, okay, what I'm planning to do, this is going to be acceptable for them. This drug may have an opportunity to be approved. If we do this, then that takes out a lot of uncertainty, a lot of risk goes out, and then is when investors may come, partners may come, and the pre-releases may happen. But that's always because there's been a validation stage before.
That's a good tip. Anyone wants to add something here? Just a quick add to that. If not, I'm going to jump to the other question, Valerie. So do you recognize a moment, a factor in your track that could have made you fail? And the question is, did it? And if it did, how you did overcome that or not?
Yeah, I think startups are really a roller coaster. So one day you think you're doing very well, and then even an hour later, things are going down. So there are multiple things that can make you fail. I really like what Anna said, like following your gut for many things, but also for people. So you need to have the right people in your team who can support you when you can go up and down. I think that's very important. But going back to the question of failure, I think when I early started on Therapeutics, I didn't even know what a cap table was. I have never heard about the shareholders agreement. I was kind of lost. So you learn by asking questions to people, and you get multiple visions, and you try to get input. And I think what I learned the most, and what I thought maybe could have been a failure, is not to think big. You know, we're all very humble, especially people here are very humble, which I think it's important to be humble, but you also have to think big. I think it's at a certain point, it's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a little bit of money and go bit by bit, or I'm going to think big. And people laughed, if you think big, you will never be able to do that. But I do think, especially in drug discovery and development, you have to do things properly, not do it half, because you always have to go back. So do things properly, raise the amount of money that you need, not the amount of money you think you can get. And I think that's the main thing. Like, I was very decisive, like, should I go round by round, little by little, or should we just go big? And we were lucky, and we raised 30 million in our Series A. And you really see the difference, because like this, you can do things in parallel, you can do things properly with proper foundation. And I think that was a point that I realized, really, you have to do things with a proper foundation, well done, and don't go fast to just move forward very fast, because that doesn't work in drug discovery and development.
Thank you. And I think it goes back to the words I say at the beginning, that entrepreneurs are dynamic but have perseverance and are committed with what they want to follow. So that's a very good example. Thank you, Valerie. And now, Freddie, can you also answer that for us?
It's interesting. So I agree with all of them, of course, because of our experience in Doctoralia. But there is a moment when you are willing to scale. Okay, you have succeeded in some way. You know that things go well, but suddenly realize that your market is global, and the market is global, and then you need to scale. And the temptation is always doing it by yourself, going by yourself, not joining others. We had the opportunity with the Polish guys to have. Thank you. We have the opportunity with the Polish guys to merge them, and with the merge, we were able to really cope with the market and really grow fast, and having a similar mentality, that's also important. So you must have a culture in your company that really attracts the right people, no? Not the people that maybe is the best one, but also the good guys, no? In some way, and something that you have mentioned. But the point was the temptation of doing everything by yourself. So it's not doing the things. You said something that is about if you want to go. There is an African saying that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So it is what we did at the end of the day. So merging with the Polish guys, we weren't able to go to another level, and this is something that sometimes we forget in our, not only as a health startup, but as a startup. So maybe the best way to recruit people that help you to grow fast is merging with others, going together to grow faster, and something to to think about, and something that I'm sharing with you. If we haven't merged with Stanley Lecker, we weren't in a so great position, and there's something to take in account in the future for me.
Thank you. And do you realize at that moment that it can avoid failure, or is something that you do with your guts? I mean, you're there.
She has mentioned something that I absolutely agree. So you go from failure to the final victory. You know, it's Churchill style said that. But as an entrepreneur, you always have days that you have the feeling when you go home, say, "What a fucking bad day I had today. I will go to work in a company, whatever." but then you wake up at the morning and say, "Let's go to my great job." And this is about that. It's about surviving the frustration. So we must be mentally resilient to this temptation.
That's the word resilience now, yeah. So
Montse, one comment our failure, because lately I'm getting nervous about this, because we entrepreneurs, first, we don't like to fail. We hate failure. What the hell? And second, we also learn a lot from success. So we are trial and error every single day, and we hate failure. So all this thing about, you learn from, we don't like failure. So I just want to say, I mean, when you fail, it's like Frederic says, you just have to get up, up the next day and get over the frustration that you didn't do right. But I think we also learn a lot from success, from our little victories of the day. They also fuel us to say, oh, this works, so we should do more of this and less of this that is not working so well. So I think that this failure thing is overrated.
That's a good point. And actually, let me
just for discussion's sake, I want to chime in on this one. So I'm completely in line with you. However, I think you learn more from failure. Because I'm always like thinking of the survivor bias. When I see great news, somebody made it, successful entrepreneur, does he or she really know what they're doing, or it was a combination of really lucky incidents? And I think in failure, it's clear, this doesn't work. So that's the certainty I see in failure that I don't have when I see success cases. I'm inspired, I hate failure, I'm going for it, I look at everything, I want to learn, but I'm like the information I get is clearer from failure than that of success.
I don't know, but
you know what I mean?
like
so
Marc
I'm
said,
failing,
when the FDA
I'm failing
says,
because you're crushing my panel, but I love the atmosphere, so please go on.
No, but like Marc said, when you go into the FDA and they give you a positive feedback, I mean, did you learn more from that than from a mistake?
Well, to get a positive feedback from FDA, we got few negative feedbacks before from them, so which also allowed us to learn. So I agree that we learn a lot of failure, but I also think that I also agree with Anna that it's more about what you those little things that help you to find which is the right way of doing things, and then we try to follow the right things more than avoid the wrong things, because sometimes.
So can we ask the audience, has any one of you learned from your failure, if ever you failed? And there's learnings here.
Or maybe said in another way, we try our best to avoid failing, even if we could learn from that, but we try to avoid it.
No, but just let me recall the wording. I was not saying, what did you learn from your failure? Is, could you avoid your failure? Were you able to avoid it? Because nobody wants to fail at the end of the day. So that's the thing.
That's
but
clear.
yeah, thank you. So Markus, now that you started, you will answer another thing for us. Can you tell us what you know now that you didn't know at a certain time and you have wanted to?
Yeah, when you first asked me the question, and you said...
You don't have to say that.
But it's like, so what do I know now that would have been helpful to know in the beginning? And I thought, oh, how great would have been if I could know everything that I know right now, right? And then I thought immediately, I think no, because I wouldn't have done it. You know,
Exactly.
it's like ignorance is bliss. When we started, we really thought in 5 years this company is sold, all the patients in the world go to the toilet happily, and I'm sitting somewhere sipping a drink and maybe doing, I don't know, an advisory board for some other companies, you know. Here we are, company started in 2014, we're doing good, you know. But it's, so I think with all the detail, I would have probably not started it. A certain point of ignorance is bliss, but there are some things that I thought that I was sharing, you know, that probably I think are worth looking at early. And that's, so some things you have to learn by yourself. For example, everything, the typical thing, everything is twice as expensive and takes twice as long as you plan. I was told that, you know, but I learned it when it happened to me, you know, and it's something that we can tell you, but so let's Let's not talk about these things, you know, no value in that. Then there's another thing that I would call like a mindset that changed during the time. In the beginning, I was always hoping to find the perfect advisor, senior, somebody with an experience that would tell me what to do because there was so much uncertainty and I wanted my savior. And at a certain point, you have to just realize if you're really innovating, you need to be the expert in your niche. You know, you need to be the expert. There's a lot of people you can learn from, but only, you know, like Bruce Lee said, take something from that, take something from that, make it your own, you know. So don't hope for the expert savior, become your own expert. And that means a lot of work and sufferings and ups and downs. And I want to close with like a, let's say, controversial statement, because I like that. And it's something that impressed me and I should have looked at earlier. I'm not saying I'm 100% in line with this, but when I talked about to a reimbursement specialist in Germany, he at one point looked at me and said, Markus, nobody cares about patient outcomes. Silence in the room, you know? And it's like, wow, I think everybody here started it because we wanted to really help the patients, et cetera, et cetera. However, if you want to take your solution and make it a successful business, you need to look at the prescribers, at the payers, what are their needs, how do you fit in that? And that is something that we realized probably too late. And then if you take it to different European markets that are already different and all these dynamics are different, that's why I'm happy I didn't know this before, you know. But I think it's really worth taking that into account. We are still motivated by the patient outcomes, you know, but in the end, you need to make all the other stakeholders happy to reach that, you know. And I think it's not correct that nobody cares about the patient outcomes. But if that's your main goal, don't only look at that. Start looking at the other important things for a business. And that is maybe the main thing that I would have liked to know earlier. Yeah, it's what we say, it's not what it actually is. So that's interesting. I mean, if you at the pitch competitions are, you know, we were nurturing the wrong kind of message, I think, you know, because the pitch competition usually in the early stages, people get judged like it was a TED talk. Oh, what a vision! All these poor children. Yeah, who's paying and who decides, you know? And that's the difference if you help the poor children or not. And now you can mute me. Okay. We can ask if somebody relates to that in the room as well.
Well, I think that's very controversial. Yes. Like, I agree with that, but I do think if you don't start with the patient perspective, I think you have to pivot around it then. You first have to. And with pitches, I like a pitch with a good science because I'm a scientist, of course. But I think if the science is not there and you cannot make it work, it doesn't even matter what the payers are. I agree you have to think about it earlier, but I think you first should focus on getting the best possible product out there to help people the most. And then you pivot, you have to take it into account. But if you don't start from there, I think you will never.
But anyway, Markus is in the right path because at the end of the day, nobody wants to change the way they are doing things. They are treating patients. They are working with drugs. They are working in hospitals. So the human being is not ready for change. This innovation, a wise friend I have, always is saying that innovation has a big no in the middle. And this is about that. So there is always a no when you go with somebody that's new, brand new, to somebody, hey, I will help you, I will save your life, whatever. Yeah, maybe later, maybe next year, maybe no, we are not ready for that now. So it's an extra work. Instead of having the best solution, you must do an extra job selling it, maybe to these other people that don't get benefit. So maybe the administrators, maybe the ones that will have to change the way they deliver the service, they deliver the drug. So it's not easy. In healthcare, it's not an easy job being an entrepreneur, having a startup. It may be harder than in other industries, probably.
So I have to say that we let Pau quite comfortable here because he hasn't shared any secrets so far. But now you have to answer to that question and any other of the previous questions you want to, because this is your time, Pau.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all of them. I would say for the question you asked him, what I learned in this process and what I would advise to somebody that starts a company, basically, are three things that I try to repeat myself as often as I can. The first one is that when you start, let's imagine an MD that tries to solve a solution, right? So they find a problem and they try to solve that. And then they build a company as if that was the company, and that's the basic of the company. but that's not the vision overall. So in our case, we detect large vessel occlusions in non-contrast CTs, and we need to do a plan to commercialize that. But what's the vision of our company? What do we want to achieve? Is that every single hospital in the world has the capabilities to assess any treatment and treat more patients. So when you plan the growth of your company, you need to define which are the stages that you need to face to grow that company, not focus only in that specific product. That's the first concept. The second one is, it's not a marathon in the sense that it's continuous. I believe you need to see like the equity story by stages. And you need to find which are the milestones from stage to stage, try to assess what you need to get there, and define very well which is the activities you need to do, which is the funding you need to do, and go step by step. And you don't necessarily need to know all the stages in the end, but be aware of the next 2-3 stages. Okay, I need to get the proof of concept. I need to get the regulatory and the evidence. I need to get the commercial traction. Understand what are the stages. And probably the third one is the most important, that is the team and how you surround yourself to assess your vision, to assess the roadmap, and to get it done. And here I agree with you that people typically find somebody super senior, somebody who has done it. And I think that's wrong. These people can be helpful, but not necessarily. You need to be yourself. You have the only criteria. Nobody better than you knows your company. But you need to leverage on these people, and you need to surround yourself of people that can help you in every stage. It's like a triathlon. It's not a marathon. You need to learn how to swim, then you need how to run, then you need how to cycle. And building this ecosystem is very important. So I don't know if there is a specific secret, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, don't get collapsed with everything that's going to happen. I mean, you'll figure that out. But do this. Try to think, what are you solving? What's your vision? Try to understand which are the stages and who are the people that can help you get done. And then you just need to go and do it. And that's my idea.
Okay, and well, that's good tips as well. I was thinking now, imagine your son, your daughter, at a certain point, whenever it is the time, says, I'm going to be like an entrepreneur like you. Answer, yes, no, don't do that, don't follow that trip, better not.
No, it's interesting. So I think that entrepreneurial, just showing entrepreneurial skills to your sons is great, because it's a great tool. As an entrepreneur, you must learn fast, learn from failure in one way or another. So not doing it again is a good thing. To the value of the money. And how will last this money on your pocket? No, so making the prevision that he was saying now, and it's not a bad thing. I really would recommend it to anybody. But first, I always say the same. But first, I recommend having experience in a company, because at least you get the structure. At least you get the basis of everything, and then you can change the basis in some way. No? And for me, I think that is something that to take in account. So coming from scratch, just hello, I'm an entrepreneur, I think that is a bad idea. You must go get some experience and then go for it.
So thank you, Freddy, because you just Marc, sorry.
I wanted to comment on this topic because it appeared before he made a comment on the people, and there's also a comment here on the people. Yes. I think that when we start as entrepreneurs, most of us felt fear when you start, because you don't know anything, you are a novato, and you say, well, I don't have the knowledge. So you need this knowledge around you. You need to be very aware of what you miss, which is a lot of things. But I would be cautious with the team when we think about the team, and sometimes we are too impressed about the curriculum because, oh, this person has been here, there, oh, oof, look what a curriculum, so that's probably a great person. And that's not necessarily true. So I think that is, and you said so before, it's better to have good people around you, so people that you can trust, that you can have a good relationship, that not necessarily the best from a point of view of curriculum. Because at the end of the day, it's always about these people, what they are going to do, if you can trust them, the relationship. If they are very good, but you don't have the chemistry,
it's always
not
about
going to
the people,
work.
yeah.
It's always
Anna.
about people.
Well, I feel like a nun, like a monja. I think I have 4 kids, not in all sense. But my comment is, I think that an entrepreneur is a calling. I think that if you are an entrepreneur, it's because there is something inside you. There is a vision, there is something you want to change. And then you will work restlessly until you get it done. So I think that, to me, the only reason why I've been an entrepreneur now for 20 years is because I honestly believe me and my team, we have to do this. And sometimes, you hesitate, but there is something inside you that keeps you going, in the times where you don't have money, in the times where, it's very hard to make something a reality and it takes time. So I say it's a calling or being a nun because it's something that you really need to believe in. Especially in things like our things that are hard to do and they take a lot of years, right? But having said so, I also want to point out that to me, the patient story, I have a different perspective. I invite patients all the time to Neuroelectrics. I'm in constant touch with them. And I really believe, they have the power to help us change the world. So we are like Uber and Airbnb, and we are disruptors, the entrepreneurs. We change the rules out there. And it's a hard fight, but we need to change the status quo so that our innovation hits the world, right? And I think that the patience in our case is what really keeps you going every day. When you hear a patient and they tell you, and I'm suffering today, please bring this device because my surgery failed, or I'm having seizures every day, or I'm super depressed, that really reinforces the calling. So I encourage all the entrepreneurs out there, to fight hard, to persevere, and don't lose faith in your vision. Just pivot, as the Americans do, and find your way, and just work very hard, and you'll get it.
Thank you. Yeah.
If I may, when I speak to, sometimes on conferences to very experienced CEOs, and Marc also said that to me, actually, the main thing is it's your baby, and the only advice, never give up. Just never give up. Don't be blind if you see something horrible wrong. Pivot, look around it. But that's the thing you have to say constantly, never give up. It's like when you have a baby, you're stuck with it as well. So you have to find a way that it grows. So same thing with the company. Just never give up. Keep on nurturing. Sometimes you're angry at it a lot, but sometimes you're very happy with it. But it's just, you cannot think about failure. You have to keep on going.
That's great. We have 3 minutes, but I just want to ask Pau.
Oh.
That, and then a last question, what did you miss in this trip to where you are now? Did you miss something in the environment, something that you should have found? And the others can answer that, but let's listen to Pau, what he says.
Yeah. So I think that the most challenging thing is talent. And why is that? It's not because there is no good people, but because in our case, artificial intelligence, there's not much out there. So nobody knows how to regulate it. Not even the notified bodies, not even the consultants, so nobody knows how to do it. So you need to find people that can help you to do that. That's the first problem. Integrate AI applications in a clinical environment is also complex, and it's not that recent. So you need to find people that can do that. So I believe that what is most challenging is finding the right talent to help you do that. So I would encourage everybody that has the spirit or the will to change and is good in their work, think out the box and join this, because this will grow a lot and we need a lot of people to get it done. So that's very important.
I love it that everything brings new conversations, new ideas. So Frederic.
And the other thing,
Thank you, Pau.
money, always money. We need money.
Okay.
Come on, don't be shy. We need money for that. You go to the States and you find shitty projects that really are raising millions of dollars. What the fuck? What's going on here? So come on, where's the money? In the bank? Come on, put it in the companies.
That's what we were expecting to listen to.
My answer would have been that funding. There's something you missed along the way. Proper funding. It's like my words. Shitty companies raise money in the US, and here you're struggling with a really good product.
So, or let's take the money here, or let's move to the States. So somebody has done it before, not bad. So
No, let's bring the money here.
So that was a silly question, actually.
Maybe just to bring it together, I think you did a very good job. That you have a lot of different. You have digital, you have biotech, pharma, pure medical device. I just want to remind you that the comments, take them into context. And I want to remind you, I care about patient outcomes also, right? But we are selling a device in a complex ecosystem, and they probably want to license this and have somebody sell it, you know? So that's why I need to think about all these shareholders, as Freddy said. You know, there's some value needs to be in there for them. And it doesn't, in the first look, it doesn't seem there's a value for the decider. But there is something. Is the workflow easier for him? Make it fit into the system. That's my message. And so, I'm motivated by the patients too, by the way.
We have time for one burning question. One burning question, somebody that really doesn't want to live without asking. Okay, please, your name, and if you don't have a mic, please raise your voice.
How you guys see the future?
Wow, do we have half an hour more? Miguel, sorry.
No,
Challenging.
He knows.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only way of changing this is by doing it. And the work that all the institutions are working to help the ecosystems, ourselves as entrepreneurs, everybody to get involved, just do something, do whatever you want. Everything is fine. Just get involved and let's get it done. Because the only way of building the ecosystem and growing is doing it. So I would encourage everybody to just join, get together, speak to everybody, just get it done. And if we get together, I'm convinced that the future will be successful. Otherwise, will be challenging.
So may we keep these words like the last ones to the table? So, Markus, I think you're. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So those are 6 excellent examples of the about 500 startups that we have in health tech in the bioregion, of the 1,600 companies and organizations that are in the ecosystem. So if you want to know more about them, about that, about the figures, about what we're doing for them in Biocat and also all the stakeholders in the bioregion, don't miss 13th February. We have the presentation of the bioregion report, the public presentation, and then don't miss also the whole week, because this is the Barcelona Health Innovation Week that we are just launching. And please join us there. We all wait for you in the 13th to 16th February week in Barcelona. Thank you very much for being here today, and let's continue the chat over there. Thank you.
Thank you for your insights. No wonder why Barcelona has some of the top leading companies in the health tech area. That was very interesting, and you see that the room was crowded, so a big support for you. So next panel, we're going to have a 2-minute break. We need to change the stage. We're going to talk about investment. So only 2-minute break, and we'll be back in a bit.